Hey y'all, today we're going to be doing a sit-down talk with JM, my mom, and what are we going to be talking about today?
I think it's just a mom and daughters chat. We're going to be talking about raising daughters, a little bit of a Q&A, and answering some of y'all's comments that you have left in the past. A lot of questions. And I know this has been a long-awaited video. Why has this been a long-awaited video?
Because you're camera shy.
So yes, I am camera shy, but also I almost don't feel qualified to be sitting here telling y'all how to raise daughters. I'm still in it. I'm still raising a daughter, and I don't want to come across like I have it all together or I know all the answers, because I don't. She is almost 15, that we've had some experience in raising a daughter, and I also wanted my husband, her dad, to be here as well, but maybe in another video we can have them, because I do think that a father's figure in a daughter's life is very important, just with fathers taking their daughters on dates. But maybe in another video we could do that.
We could do that.
Yeah, that would be fun. But now it's just me and you. I guess we can just jump right into it. She is the second oldest. Matthew is now 16, but she is the first and only girl. I just remember I was 24 years old when I found out I was pregnant with Joy, and we already had a son. So in some ways I was like, you pray like, I just want a healthy baby. I just want one that's healthy, and it doesn't matter if it's a boy or girl. It really doesn't matter, Lord. And we had our son, and he was like all boy. So he was always playing with my husband. He'd play baseball, and I'd play too, but nothing like a father and son, right? Playing baseball and wrestling and all that stuff. So I remember getting the ultrasound done to find out if we were having a boy and girl. And then when the lady said it was a girl, I literally started crying. I was so excited to finally have a girl. Not finally, but to have a girl. I remember leaving there and I was just jumping up and down. I was just so excited. Like, finally I have a little girl. I could have tea parties. I could dress her up in bows and fancy dresses, lots of pink. And I was so excited. I just could not wait. And then when she was born, I remember crying, just, wow, she's so beautiful. And she was tiny. And so she was just this petite, tiny little girl, and just beautiful as could be. And I just remember thinking, I was so excited, but then fear came upon me, how am I gonna raise this little girl? I didn't want her to be like me growing up and just being in the world, because my mom, as a lot of you know, had passed away when I was 10 years old. Some things I learned from my mom, but she was working. I knew I wanted to be different. I knew I wanted to raise my daughter a little different, even though my husband and I were a little bit different. My husband and I were still growing in the Lord. And we didn't have a lot of the same convictions and knew a lot of biblical principles as we do now. But I knew there was something in me knowing I needed to raise her different. I think just being a girl, with her being a girl, just my husband and I, we just wanted to protect her, just wanting to raise her differently. Also knowing that what people say too is how, you have a little girl, watch out when she's a teenager. Oh my, she's going to rebel. You just watch out. She's gonna be talking back. She might run away. We just got all these such negative comments. I think a lot of people get that in general with teenagers. They want to associate teenagers with being rebellious and talking back, and they just put this negative label on them. Especially a daughter. I think I got a lot of it. Just watch out when she's a teenager. Oh my goodness. And so I was hanging on to a little bit of fear. And as the years went on and we were watching her grow, I was more and more of that fear was just, I could just hear the Lord's voice going, just trust me. If you're, lay out the foundations, you're gonna be okay. If you're in my word and searching the scriptures, you're gonna, the Lord trusted you with these little people that you're gonna be raising. So I'm like, yes, you are right, Lord. I just have to trust in you. And then just watching her grow, and just from a young age, seeing her love for the Lord. She was just so joyful and just always smiling, always bouncing all over the place. Like, she wouldn't just walk. She'd like bounce and twirl and spin, and she'd be dancing everywhere, and I'm just like, oh my, you know. Honestly, I think we have some video footage. Can we put in some video footage?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you gonna be embarrassed?
No.
Are you sure? I don't want to embarrass you. It's super cute. So I'm praying that we can get some video footage for you.
I'll try.
Okay. Alright. I always say, like, when she enters a room, like, she just lightens a room up. And I know I might be biased, but it's true. Like, she just walks in and she's always has just brightened a room just with her smile and just her character. And really, I think it's her love for the Lord, and just even from a young age.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was once lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
As we got through the toddler years, and that was also funny because here I thought, like, oh, we're gonna have like tea parties, and at the time we painted our nails, so like, oh, we could like paint our nails and, you know, go shopping and do all this fun girl stuff, right? And it's so funny because she was like complete opposite. Like, well, she loved like the cute fancy dresses. I think we'll have some pictures too.
Yeah.
So she liked the dresses, but then she'd be in her like fancy dress and she'd be like barefoot and she'd be outside like, hey mom, look at this frog, hey mom, look at this snail, and bring him in the house, and she's just mud, hair's like all over the place. And that's what's funny because she's never been the type of like, ooh, let's have a tea party, or mom, can you paint my nails? Or, I mean, you like to go shopping somewhat now. Now she's getting older, she likes shopping a little bit. A little bit.
Depends what you're shopping for.
Exactly. So that was funny to me too. As we entered into the teenage years, her love for the Lord has even grown more. And I can see now, like, letting that fear go of, wow, like, the world is wrong. Like, teenagers, like, if you're laying down the foundations, and I don't know what that looks like, honestly. I know we've always like read the Bible, and obviously we homeschooled, which I believe is a huge thing in today's world. Some of you can't homeschool, so I'm not saying that you should do it, but for us, I believe that really, really helped to develop the relationship. That I am just amazed at being her mom and like where she is in her life, and it's exciting to see. So yeah, if all of y'all have little girls and you're raising them and people are telling you, oh, just wait until they're teenagers, like, please give that up to the Lord, because if you are even just reading the Bible daily or laying that foundation right. Another question I know Joy gets a lot, because I do sometimes read the comments and I am out with her a lot amongst her brothers, and we get this all the time, or she does, is how do you feel about being the only girl?
What I say to most people is just like, I'm just kind of used to it. I mean, I've known nothing different, and then I guess it probably does help that I have the personality that I do, of being outside and just like playing with them, making tree houses, you know, trying to build that raft or whatever, just like being outside and kind of stuff. So I think that helps.
And like being little, she would always be the one that was like getting her little brothers to like sneak out at night to go catch toads. Yeah, her and her Mark, her little brother, he's big now, but her brother would literally sneak out of the house to go catch toads at night, and I never knew about it except when there was a toad in the house one night. But anyways, so yeah, that definitely. We always told them from a young age that the Lord gives you your birth order, your gender, and the time in history that you were born. And so I think that has helped too, of just knowing, she can't change it. And I know a lot of people should be like, oh, I'm so sorry that you're the only girl. How do you do it? You know? And she's just like, I've always done it. Like there's nothing, like you don't need to feel sorry for her.
No. So if you could do like anything different, like in like raising us, like would you change anything? Like
probably yes. There's probably many things I would probably maybe want to do differently, but I always say to like you have to do your best with what you know of at that time. Do you think that my husband and I, we raised them, or we are still raising them? We're doing the best we can with what we know at this given time. But I could say one thing. I would probably maybe would have prayed a lot more like when they were younger, just about their future, just always giving that up to the Lord. I know when they're little you can get caught up in just the mundane tasks, and it's so easy to not be in the Word or not to pray. And now looking back, I'm like, man, I should have just given that up to the Lord and just gotten my Bible out, because my day probably would have gone a lot smoother like when they were all young, because Matthew, Joy, and Mark are all 21 months apart, so those were some busy days. And now looking back too, I could see that those were like almost the easy days. I know some of you might be like, what are you talking about? This is not easy. But looking back, because at that time I could just remember, like, I guess my worries were making sure like the little ones aren't choking like on Cheerios or that the siblings aren't like strangling each other or getting into an argument, or just waiting until nap time so I could get some rest. Like those were like my worries out of the day. And now not saying that it's terrible now, it's just different challenges. Each age brings different challenges. It doesn't really get easier, sort of speaking. You might be getting more sleep or something, but it doesn't get easier. It's just different challenges. And so I think just praying more just about like their futures, or even in situations, or maybe even just praying with them. Like that's something that my husband and I try to do now, is just really trying to pray with them with certain things that they're going through, and maybe doing that more when they were younger too. Alrighty, so that leads us to now we're going to talk about modesty.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Modesty. I'm going to have you share, I guess, some of your journey with the whole modesty, but I know it has been a journey for our family. And I know modesty, I don't want to get too much in detail here because I know this topic is
very
heavy.
Yeah.
That's what I could say.
Yeah.
But and it looks different. It totally looks different.
Yeah.
And again, we're not going to sit there and judge and saying, what's modest, and
it's different in everyone's lives.
It is very different in everyone's lives. But this is just coming from us, because I know she'll get the comment, if like we're brainwashing her, like, why do you always wear skirts? Like jeans or whatever would be easier to muck the stalls. Or I know from being her mom and looking, she was always very sensitive, if that's the right word, to how people were dressed at a very young age.
So yeah, I remember just like really wanting to protect my brother's and dad's eyes, like get in the mail before they did so I can cut out like the inappropriate ads, or if we were like in the store, just like flipping around the inappropriate catalogs, because they'd just be like all over the place before you like check out or whatever.
Yeah.
Or even in the dentist's office, like all those things that they set out. And yeah, just really wanting
yeah. The magazines.
Yeah, the magazines and catalogs. Yeah, just really wanting to protect their eyes.
Yes, and honestly, I think she taught me a lot on modesty, because at the same time, and I love how the Lord works, because it was like right at the same time, my husband and I were starting to dig into the Bible deeper, just really about gender roles. Yeah, not making your brothers in Christ stumble. And so we really started looking at modesty and like kind of, I guess, what that looks like for our family. Like I said, at the same time, I could see her feeling uncomfortable when people were dressing immodest. And then sometimes she would, I'd be wearing maybe like a tank top or something, and she might be like, Mom, why are you wearing that? And that doesn't look good or whatever, being like 4 years old. And then I'd be like, well, you know, at first I'm just like, okay, like you're only 4, like you don't know what looks good. but then just really taking it to heart, like, wow, she's uncomfortable when people are dressing inappropriate or what. Yeah, and then we were also, my husband and I were also talking about like why we wear what we wear, or why do we do what we do, and like I said before, the gender roles. And I remember too thinking, okay, now how do I dress her? You know, because you know the stores now, they want to take out a lot of the women clothes, and or they want to have clothes that are for boys and girls. And I remember I had to search. I remember thinking too, I'm like, because I didn't know how to sew. And so, but I remember thinking like, I'm going to learn how to sew because we need to sew skirts.
Yeah.
And I found culottes.com, and for cheap, they would just sew like simple longer skirts. So I remember just getting rid of a lot of my immodest clothes. Modest clothes are out there. And then also I think we found thrift stores actually had a lot too, because obviously people were getting rid of, all the girls were wanting to get rid of the long skirts and stuff.
So yeah, Mom and Dad like never pressured me into like wearing longer skirts. It was just, there's like no right or wrong way really. I just felt more comfortable wearing longer skirts, and they always talked to us about it, like the reason why we do something. And yeah, we never wanted to make it just rules in our house of why we do what we do. We wanted to back it up with the Bible principles, a reason behind why we do what we do, and it's going to be up to them. Okay, so what is one thing that, or not one thing, I guess it could be many things, that you appreciate that Mom and Dad have done? I'm really grateful that you've taught us like to love the Lord and to serve others like with all of our hearts, and I'm really grateful that you homeschooled us, because I think it's for sure has protected us from like a lot of influences out there. And I'm also really grateful that I can go to you anytime and like talk about something, even though if it's like in the night, you know, we can just go there and just talk. You know, another night, and just have open communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, and that's one thing that my husband and I wanted from when the kids were a really young age. We just pray that we could keep their hearts and just to always have that open communication with them. We also wanted them to come to us. We wanted us to be their, like, I guess, like safe spot. Like, we didn't want, if it was something that maybe they did wrong and they're coming to tell us, to not get angry. And just be that listening ear for them when they're going through something, I think is really important. And to pray with them. Yeah, and just having that relationship, I think, is really important. And I always wanted not only to be the kids' mom, but I also want to be their best friend. And yeah, just keeping that open communication, I think, is really important, that I'm thankful that we've always had with all of our kids. And then I also wanted to share too, I think having, for a girl, like a godly women in their lives too, has really helped too. So maybe she could hear it from someone else rather than just me, or just someone else who is, they're just backing you up and encouraging. And so I know we're very grateful.
Yeah, for TM, and then for my new family that just moved down here. They're super sweet and super encouraging.
Yeah, I know she's really turned to them for encouragement too. So I think that has really helped too. And yeah, or just even having godly peers too. All right, so I guess this is our last question that we get asked, or that you get asked a lot. Yeah. It's probably like the top questions, and that is, Joy, what do you want to be when you grow up? Are you going to be going to college to pursue your filming and editing career?
No, yeah, like ever since, you know, I was little, I've always just wanted to be a mom and a wife and a keeper at home, and just like have children, raise them in the Lord. And I would love to keep up like this homesteading life. I think it's just like so neat, just like growing your own food, like raising animals, and I want my children to experience that, like where they get their food and raising animals. I think that's just super cool. And also maybe like filming or photography, like taking pictures. And
that's another thing you used to love too.
Yeah,
I have a lot of photography.
Yeah, and I don't know how that'll all play out. Just maybe still having my YouTube channel, and then yeah, just living like a simple life. I think it'll come down to that. Yeah, and we're also keeping our eye out right now, on a side note, for Highland cattle. For Highland cattle. So if you see any for sale in like this East Texas area, just let us know because we're really looking for
Yeah,
Highland
she's
cattle.
excited to
And,
raise some
yeah.
Highland cattle.
So I really want to start like raising the Highland cattle. So
Yes.
if you see any for sale, just let us know.
Yes. Alrighty, y'all. So that is the end of this video. Any more questions?
No, I don't think so.
If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below. Or if you have any questions, if JD, which is my husband and her dad, because maybe we can do another video with him in it, and the importance of a father in a girl's life. We could do that video too. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. And but to wrap it up, I just wanted to say that we are so grateful for Joy, and she's been such a blessing, and it's been so exciting seeing her grow up in the Lord, and I'm excited to see where she is in the future.
So yeah, y'all, thanks so much for watching. And yeah, like what she said, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye. Aww. We did it! Kind of. That was so bad. I think I'm a lot editing.
I love you.